Is this part or not? Now, what is this value? The right side one, right?
Correct.
How many times I told that the right side one is this reference variable value. What is the right side value? New, the class. What is the class? Album class. Very simple things you're no making. I don't understand that missing that part. That means you didn't understand the object part. Clearly shows that. So now I am giving so the next value. These are the values. So the name, see here automatically it is coming. Name, slippery when wet, artist name, price. Price I am giving, what I am giving, price I am giving a negative value. And number of copies also negative I have given.
Minus values.
So now what will happen if you give like that? But still code will execute. Your code will execute. There is no issue in that.
Ramesh, font size, can you please increase a little bit? Maybe.
Font, yeah. I'll increase. Yeah, it is a little bit low. So, we need to see where that is.
View.
Preferences, I think preferences we have. Somewhere preferences.
Windows.
Windows, huh?
Okay.
Refactor. Okay, so folder. Okay, let's don't waste time. Let's go and ask Google. Okay. Increase the font size.
It's in general.
In IntelliJ.
Size in IntelliJ. That's it. Control Alt, if you need to quickly change the font size while in the editor, press Control Alt OS. Okay. So Control Alt OS. Is it increased? Okay. Here we are getting.
In general, it was there.
So editor.
Font size.
Font size is there, is Ramesh, in the top right next to there.
This one, right? 16.
Right.
Good.
Little bit better.
But still we'll do more, okay? 18 or 20. Let's put it 20. Ayo, why here it is not increasing? It is increased everywhere.
It is in the project level, hierarchy level, not
editor.
here.
We want in the editor level. This one is wrong. Command mouse wheel. Change font size with the control mouse. Change. It's not increasing. So we'll The default font size is set on the editor. Font page of the IDE settings. Control Alt S. It will be used in the editor by for all the open documents. Font size can be already selected colors. Press Control Alt S to open the IDE settings and then select editor. Editor general. That's what. Alt OS. It is increasing here, not there.
Here another option is there, editor option.
Editor, yeah, that's what I'm just checking. Editor. Editor.
Font.
Code editing font. Okay, this is
Yeah.
the one we want. Yeah. Size I can increase to 60. Is it fine better?
Yeah, Ramesh.
Okay. So okay.
That's enough.
Yeah, now see here I have given the name, artist name, price negative, and number of copies also negative. Is this a valid values? Price is going to be a negative?
No.
It's not possible, right? But still we are there is no control here. So because you are giving the your whatever you are giving, that is setting for that variable. That variable, this album class variable, it is setting. The negative value also setting, and now whatever the value you are giving, it is setting to the album class variables. But there is no control here. How can you control that? So if you stop accessing these variables, then you can control, right? How can you do that? Now this is without encapsulation. Now let's go and apply encapsulation for the album class. So as I mentioned, variables should be a private, right? Because a public, everybody can access and they can set their own data. If you stop that and nobody can access the variable directly, right? If you want to give your value, you set the values or access the values through methods only. That provision encapsulation is giving for you. So let's make this instead of public, make it as a private. So this also private. So I'm converting this class into a encapsulated class. So let's convert into encapsulated class. That's it. So now generate the setter and getters for this. So let's generate the setters and getters for these variables. So select, right click. So you have a generate option, generate, okay, generate. So getters and setters. Select all, okay, you select all. So then
Okay.
do that. So you got a only setter methods you got. Now you need to generate the getter methods also. Set number of copies, all you got. Now set the, so select it and set it, generate getters.
Yeah.
So all getters. So you can generate the getters and setters. See, getter methods also generated. So
This
get
type of concept is available in IntelliJ only, Ramesh, or in other editors?
other
also?
also, you have other places also.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere these are common things. But slight name changes will be there. But you have all the options.
Okay.
These options are common everywhere. Any IDE will provide that. See, every variable, please understand, every variable has a one setter method, one getter method. Let me give that setter method here itself. So this is the setter method. So set artist. Next, set price, right? Set price. Set number of copies. So variables, all variables I'm keeping in one place. So variables on the top and methods below bottom side. See? So this name has set name and get name. So set name means, see, setter method is having a parameterized method. String name, this dot name equal to name. So this is a reference variable which refers the current class objects. Please remember, this is a reference variable which refers to the current class objects. So which class you are, that class objects only it will refer. Objects means instance variables is an object. Instance methods is an object. Constructor is an object. These are the three parts if you want to access in the current class. You want to represent them in the current class. You can use this keyword. This is used to refer current class instance variable. See that this dot name is, this will refer to this instance variable. But the right side one will refer this parameter. So now you have a getter method. See the get the parameter name, the get name. That's a method name. Set name, get name. That means this. You set the value with a setter method. You get the value with a getter method. That's a setters means setting the variable value, updating the variable value. You call the method and give this parameter a value. Automatically it will set to that instance variable. Right? And okay, you get it. It is stored here in the heap memory. You get it with a getter method. The getter method is a return type method. Setter method is a void type. It doesn't return. Void means it doesn't return. This method is returning string type data. Same way you have a set artist, get artist. So here also same. This dot artist represents the instance variable, and this one will represent the right side one is a parameter. So set price, get price. So set number of copies, get number of copies. But we are getting a problem with the price and number of copies, right? People are giving a negative data. How can you control? So here is the one you can control here. If so price is greater than 0, if price is greater than 0 only, then set this value. Else, so else what you need to set? So
Invalid price.
this dot price, I will set it as a 0. So I am controlling that. You should not give a negative value. That's it. Double 0 default value. Same way number of copies also you control in the setter method. Where you are setting, there you can control it. If so number of copies greater than 0, so then else, if greater than 0 only, set this value, whatever the value the user is giving. Otherwise, what I'm saying, then set that value to 0. That's it. So it's full control, right? Only owner can control everything. These logics. And even you call this method anywhere, you give whatever the wrong data also, it won't accept. You will get a default value. If you give a negative value, and you will get a default value. So not negative values. So that is the how you can control. So that's a full control will be there with the encapsulation process. Your variable values, you can control it. See now, consume these methods here. Now see, all these are throwing errors here. See, 8 errors are there. What are the 8 errors? Name as a private access in so album class. You cannot access. All these are private. You cannot access. Then how can you do that? So what you need to do? How can you access the name value? How can you set this name value to that variable?
By
With a
get method.
Get
Set name and get name methods.
set name. Setter methods, madam. Always for setting the value, set name. And give this value. Name.
Okay.
That's it. So these are all will change now. Only methods you can call. Variables you cannot call because see, it is throwing error. You see that. Artist has a private access modifier in this album class. You cannot access it. So replace with the setter method. See, automatically. So easy. You don't need to write it. Replace with the setter method. Replace with the setter method. So simple. You don't need to write. Now here also see that. So replace with the getter. Automatically it knows that. See that intelligence power. It knows that you are accessing the value. So that's why it is. So replace with the getter method. So replace with the getter method. Replace with the getter method. Replace with the getter method. So simple, right? So that's it. See, we did already a setter methods calling and getter methods calling. Where you are accessing the value, you are calling the getter methods. Where you are setting the value, you are calling with the setter methods. You are calling the setters and setting the value. If you want a value, you are calling the getter methods. If you want a value, if you want to retrieve the value, you need to use the getter methods. If you want to set or update the variable value, you need to call the setter methods. Are you all clear? That's the simple encapsulation. Other than that, nothing. So no need to confuse also. See, now I am giving a negative also. Still, it will set the, see that the default values are set now. So manage album is managed by Jando, and so the album name is Play Venvet, artist name is Bon Jovi, and price is 0, and album number of copies is 0 because I am not giving a valid values. That's why. Otherwise, you remove this negative, and you remove this negative, and you will get a proper value now. So execute it again. See that? You got the correct values. So this is the all encapsulation means. Any questions here? So I'm going to give so this is how to execute. It's simple. If you use IntelliJ, very, very simple. Okay. Now, so take an example. Okay. So you do that encapsulation process. Okay. You try encapsulation. So create a mobile class. Okay. Create a mobile class and take so mobile price, mobile name, mobile brand, okay, mobile OS. So these are the parameters you take, the instance variables, and then follow the process and call that mobile in different class, how you can call, okay? So that's the, so exercise you need to create. So apart from this, okay, yeah. So next one is, so that's encapsulation. So we are done with encapsulation. So we're done with encapsulation. Okay, so let's go to constructor. So next one is a constructor. So what is a constructor? So constructor is a special type of method. The constructor is a special type of method, and which is used to initialize the state of the object. So why you will use a constructor? Which is used to initialize the state of the object. So it is a special type of method. It looks like a method, but not a method. So class inside you will create a constructor. And there are some rules. You need to follow the rules. Class name and constructor name must be same. That's a rule for creating the constructor. And there should be no return type, no explicit return type for the constructor. Generally, methods have a return type, right? But constructor doesn't have any return type. And you should not use static, abstract, final keywords in the constructor. So not acceptable. So in the constructor line, you should not use them. So that is the, so constructor means. And also, why do you need to use a constructor is, it constructs the values. Your parameter values or your instance variable values will be constructed by this constructor. So when this constructor will be invoked at the time of object creation, in the object creation line, the constructor will be called. Automatically initialized, you don't need to call. So class name, object reference equal to new class name, parenthesis, right? The new keyword after whatever is there, that is the constructor. So that is a constructor part. So automatically you are including in the object line itself. That's what I have. So constructor is invoked at the time of object creation. At the time of object creation. So it constructs the values, provides data for the object. That is why it is known as a constructor. So rules for creating a constructor is, constructor name must be same as its class name. Constructor must have no explicit return type. A Java constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, and synchronized. Types of Java constructors are two types. Default constructor are also called no argument constructor. Parameterized constructor with argument constructor. So it has arguments. So Java default constructor is, so a constructor which doesn't have any parameters. So that's a default constructor means. So syntax of default constructor is access modifier, the class name. So whatever the class name, same you have to write here. You create n number of constructors in the class. Whatever the class name is, the same class name you have to write. So after access modifier. So see, no keywords, access modifier after. Only class name. Then parenthesis, curly bracket, logic plus statement you have to write. If there is no constructor in the class, compiler automatically creates one default constructor. So till now we haven't created any constructor, right? But every class has its own default constructor. JVM will create for that. Every class, even if you don't create also, JVM will create one default constructor by default. So if a class has a default constructor, while creating an object for the class, no need to provide any parameter values. No need to provide any parameter values. Okay, so next. So this is the class name, reference variable equal to new class name parenthesis. So this is the constructor, default constructor. So this entire thing is called object, but only this part is called constructor, default constructor. So what is the purpose of default constructor? Default constructor provides the default values to the object, like 0 for integers, null for object string, and Boolean value default is false, and integers 0, and float and double 0.0, like that. The default values will be assigned by default constructor to that variables, that instance variables. So that's the purpose of default constructor. So what is parameterized constructor? A constructor that have parameters is known as a parameterized constructor. So here is the parameterized constructor creation: access modifier, class name, data type parameter 1, comma, data type parameter 2, and so on. So, and logic plus statements you can give. So why do you need to use parameterized constructor? So your parameterized constructor is used to provide different values to the distinct object. Each object you can provide different values. So like here we have seen, right? So I created a object here. This is the parameterized constructor, right? I can give one more object, create, and give a different name. See, I can create a one more object. So SKOB is a 1. I can give John or Smith. So something like that. See, each object you can provide a different parameter value for this constructor. So for this constructor, we provided this parameter value. For this constructor, we provided a different value. So that's the advantage with a parameterized constructor. Same constructor you can give, but different value you can set for that object. That's the main purpose of parameterized constructor. Okay, if a class has a parameterized constructor, while creating an object for the class, need to provide parameter values. That's what I did, right? This is a parameterized constructor. Am I right or not? See, class name, constructor name, same, but parameter, this is the one parameterized. So this as a parameter. While creating object, what I did? So I provided the parameter value. That point I'm covering here. So while creating object, if the class has a parameterized constructor, you have to pass that parameter value. I am passing parameter value, string type. So this is the point here. See, class name, reference variable equal to new class name, parameter 1 value, comma, parameter 2 value, comma, parameter 3 value. That's a parameterized constructor means. So constructor overloading means what? Constructor overloading. So constructor overloading is one of the technique in which a Java class can have n number of constructors. A class can have n number of constructors that differ in parameter list and data type. How you can distinguish between one parameter to other parameter? The parameter list. If, for example, one constructor has 2 parameters, next constructor should have more than 2 parameters, or the data type of the one of the parameters should be different than first one. So any one should be different. That is the constructor overloading means. So how the compiler differentiate is based on this parameter list and the data type. Every constructor name is same because constructor name and class name same. Parameter values and data types should be different. The data type and parameter list. So should be different from one constructor to another constructor. So that is called constructor overloading. So same method overloading will come in the next topic. Understand, constructor overloading means a class can have n number of constructors that differ in parameter list and parameter data type. So the compiler will recognize based on the parameter list, taking into account and the data type of the parameter. So which is you are giving for one constructor to another constructor. So that is the constructor overloading means. Any questions?
Like in different purposes, the constructor will be called, right? Like depends on how many parameters we are
Which
passing.
parameter constructor you want, you call that constructor.
That constructor only will be called, right?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. It might be like depends on our wish, like our intention to call that constructor.
Exactly. So when you call that parameterized constructor, you give that many parameters. So that parameter logic will call, that constructor logic will call. Based on the number of parameters you are passing here, so that constructor logic will call for you.
Okay.
That is the constructor overloading means. I'll give example. I'll show you that in our Selenium. We have a so you can go here and you can so just go to Selenium downloads, and this is the Selenium website, and go to API doc, and you can go to this one. There is a cookie class. Okay, that cookie class has overview. So classes. We have to see where this cookie class are. Otherwise, I can go to Firefox. Here also you have. See that? So this is the Firefox driver class is there here. Firefox driver class. So this is the class Firefox driver. This is the public class Firefox driver. So the constructors you can see here. This is the default constructor. This is the parameterized constructor, one parameterized constructor. This is the two parameterized constructor. See, class name and the constructor name is same. And this is the three parameterized constructor. But here single parameter, but this parameter data type is a Firefox driver service. And this parameter data type is a Firefox options. So data type is different. The parameter data type is different. Even though single parameter, and this parameter data type is different, and this parameter data type is different. So that is called constructor overloading. Okay? Is this clear? Examples.
Yeah. Rather than creating multiple different name methods with the same constructor we can use, right?
Yes. So which constructor you want, you call. While creating object for a Firefox driver class, which constructor you want, you call that constructor. These are constructors, not methods. Constructor, the class name, parenthesis. The class name with parameter. The class name with parameters. So this is called parameterized constructors. Constructor overloading is followed. You can give examples if they ask you also. So that's a constructor overloading. The last topic, let's finish quickly and we can close it. So the difference between constructor and method. So constructor is used to initialize the state of the object. It will initialize the objects. Constructor is not there, it's not possible. And Method is used to expose the business logic. The logic or behavior, if you want, you need that. So constructor must not have a return type. Method must have a return type, right? Either void or without void, right? We should have some return type for the method. Constructor is invoked implicitly. Method you need to call explicitly. If you call only, it will execute. If you are not calling it, the method is not going to execute. But constructor, you just create an object, automatically the constructor will be invoked. So Java compiler provides a default constructor if you don't have any constructor in the class. Method is not provided by compiler. In any case, there is no default method which is not provided by anything. Okay. So next, constructor name must be same as a class name, and method name may or may not be same as a class name. So that's all about constructor and method differences. Please go through that once again, read properly and come back. And you need to do a selfie. Only, I think